Yo, what is going on, everybody? Today in this video, I'm going to show you the difference between a niche store and a general store. And in the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what I personally recommend if I were to restart my journey as an online entrepreneur. So stay tuned, make sure to like and subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and let's get right into it. So just like anything else in the world, there are pros and cons to having a niche store, and there's also pros and cons to having a general store. Some pros in terms of having a niche store would be that it is much easier to build an engaged following and brand. What I mean by that is it's easier to build a trustworthy brand that, customers can resonate with. So for example, I pulled up a really good example of a niche store. I found this just as I was just going about with my daily routine, and this store is clearly a dropshipping store, and it's in the kids toy niche. As you can see, it's really dope, very clean and trustworthy, and honestly, if I was a parent, I would probably be browsing through this myself. And overall, that brings me to the second point with niche stores. When you have a niche store, it's really easy to increase your average order value with upsells and frequently bought togethers. And if you don't know what average order value means the amount of money a customer spends when they purchase from you. So a good example of what average order value means can be taken from another niche store known as Made of Rose. So instead of buying a $80 rose bear, you can also buy a bundle with this black rose bear and a mysterious box and a galaxy rose, all for the price of $200 something. So pretty much instead of spending $80 on one order, your customer will spend $200, and overall, because you have items that can kind of supplement and complement whatever item your customer is interested in, you're able to increase the average order value. So that's for all my beginners. If you don't know what average order value means, very important term. Let's move on to the next point. With niche stores, it's a lot easier to create custom content and info products. So what I mean by that is when you have a niche store, you could go ahead and purchase the product and make your own custom content. It's a lot easier to do that. Whereas when you have a general store, you're just selling a ton of products and you might not have a specific theme or a brand behind your store. It's going to be a lot easier to make content for these kids' toys or even this rose bear, which I believe these are all definitely custom content, versus a general store. And an example of a general store would be Kustora.com. I found this back in the day, and as you can see, they just pretty much sell, a ton of random products. So a niche store is going to be easier to build a trustworthy brand and overall experience for your customer, which in return can have them to come back and purchase again, and you just have a higher increase in repeating customers, which is a great pro. Definitely something you should try to achieve when you build your own online store, and it just provides greater trust for your customers and is a great long-term sustainable business. Now let's move on to the cons of having a niche store. When you have a niche store, you are restricted to certain products in your niche. Looking at PlushieDepot.com and Made of Roses, these stores, they're only allowed to sell products in their specific niche. Big downfall of that is you can see more obviously on madeofrose.com. This store is clearly made for Valentine's Day. And if you take a look at Google Trends when you search Rose Bear, you can see that overall the search volume for Rose Bear is very minimal, all the way until around the December area, where it just spikes up during Valentine's Day. So that is the trend that they're riding. This is probably when Made of Rose makes the most money, but as you can see, right after Valentine's Day, it plummets right down and is very unstable for the rest of the year. That is probably one of the biggest downfalls for niche stores. Your scalability is capped. You have a maximum search cap, a lot harder to scale, because what if you're in the August season in the summer and you're trying to make money? It's going to be a lot harder for you to scale Valentine's Day niche store. And also, some more cons of having a niche store is that it's very hard to choose one niche. Me personally, I remember when I was first starting in my journey, it was very hard for me to decide what niche store to do because, there's just pros and cons to every niche. There's seasonality issues. And that brings me to my next slide, which is a general store. With a general store, it is far less restrictive in terms of product testing. Your product selection is pretty much evergreen and you're able to test a variety of products. You can test products from the fireplace niche all the way to the rose bear niche. You could practically test everything as long as you make your store trustworthy as possible. As you can see from our previous example, Kustore.com, it's a very basic store and it sells a ton of different niches, from beauty products to kitchen and cooking, electronics, fitness, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just less trustworthy, but overall you can still make a lot of sales and kill it when you find a winning product. It's a lot easier to set up the general store versus like a niche store such as madeofrose.com or plushydebo.com, because you're just creating a store for people to buy products from. They don't think about website design as detailed oriented as the other niche stores do. With a general store, you can also test a multitude of products, easily adapting to trends. So if you're for example, right now we're in September 15th, we're in the fall season where fireplaces are approaching. You can easily go and find fireplaces to add to your store. As you can see, fireplaces are hot during the months of October, November, December, and even January to February. That's when it's cold. But once springtime comes, you probably don't want to sell a fireplace when the spring season is approaching. Meaning I wouldn't put a fireplace product up, especially during this time. I would probably put it up literally during this time, August to September, because the trend is fireplaces, search volume is going to go up. When the time comes for spring, I would probably sell products such as like barbecue grills, because when springtime comes, as you can see, people search and want to buy for barbecue grills. So it's a lot easier for you to adapt to and overall have a higher scalability because you're able to test just a multitude of products. And the cons of having a general store, however, is that you do have a weaker back end, lower conversion rates, very hard to kind of brand your general store, and just a lower number of returning customers because, you're not a niche specific brand. You're selling pretty much anything you could find, just looking for one winner and then trying to scale it as much as possible. Your conversion rates are going to be lower, and sending even emails and SMS is going to be harder for you to retain those customers. Whereas if you're in the rose niche, you're going to be sending emails based on Valentine's Day, love emails, couple emails. But when you have a general store, you can really send an email about a car, truck, when the customer might have went onto your site looking for some beauty and personal care products. So you're probably asking now, all right, Marcus, enough with the info. What store do you recommend setting up? Me personally, I kind of do a little bit of a hybrid type of store, and let me explain. I like to start off with a general store because I have a multitude of products to scale. I have so many products I could keep testing and testing until I find one that can make me money profitably. Once I find some products that I can, scale and I know what sells well, I will pretty much convert it into like a niche store kind of. So a great example of a hybrid store is Home Depot, because Home Depot is in the home niche, but because you're in the home niche, there are still so many products you can sell. You can sell products from baths to kitchen, cleaning, doors, decor, flooring, heating. You see, there's an unlimited amount of products in this one niche. And this will help you find more and more winners once you find one winner. So that is all, guys. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions. And also feel free to comment what types of videos you want to see in the future. Peace!